really important that you actually answer them, as silly as it sounds, but just 100% participation so we can rock and roll and get the most out of this thing. So we're going to kick off. Time to get started. So welcome, Greg, just logging in there. And guys, I'm really excited about tonight because I know, what a big thing this is. So often we as personal trainers focus on the nutrition and the exercise part. But if we haven't got our head right and, we've got things that are stopping us from overcoming our own, bad habits or self-sabotaging ways or self-limiting behaviors and patterns that we've got, then we're pushing an uphill battle always. And this is why people struggle with motivation and willpower, etc., because they're constantly using that to push up against these roadblocks that they've created in their minds from an early age. So tonight is all about helping us figure out what it is that is holding us back and shining a light on it so that we can overcome it. Okay, so Joanne, great. I've got your message there on the phone, so you should still be able to hear us. I'm not sure you'll be able to see the slides, but you'll definitely be able to hear us on the phone. So fantastic. So we're going to rock and roll, team. Before we start, a couple little things. Any distractions, we need to get rid of those. So phones, kids, wives, husbands, whatever it is for you, lock them in the spare room and hide the key somewhere. Okay, so if we can get as full of attention as possible for the next hour or so, that's going to help you tenfold. Turn your I know button off. Everyone has an I know button. And if you find yourself wanting to put those two words together back to back like that, stop yourself really, really quickly, because as soon as you say those two words in a row, your brain switches off from the possibility of learning something new. Okay, so tonight's all about coming in with an open mind, clearing it of all preconceptions, wipe the slate clean if you like, so that we can, some of this might sound quite different to some of you guys. Some of you guys, it'll be right up your alley and you've probably already started, looking into this kind of stuff as well. So that's cool. We're all kind of coming from different angles. So where are you from? We've already asked that question. We've got Townsville, Brisbane, Rockhampton, Maryborough. We're from all over the place, team. So that's awesome. The wonders of technology allowing us to chat tonight and have a good time. So let's rock and roll. This thing, hands up if you've seen this thing before. Pop your little hand up. There's a button. So don't literally put your hand in the air, but there's a hand button on your screen somewhere. Fantastic. Hands, hands, hands. About half the hands up, half the hands down. Okay, so this is called the line of choice. Okay, and every day and every minute in every day, you've got a choice to live above the line or below the line. Okay, so below the line people blame everyone else, make excuses for their results or their life, and deny responsibility, deny it's their fault. Okay, so you probably know one or two of those people, and some of you might even know them really, really well and see them every time you clean your teeth. Yeah, but we have a choice, so we can change that. So if that's you and maybe you slip below the line too much, it's a constant, conscious and constant choice that we make. So above the line, we have ownership, accountability, and responsibility. Okay, so taking extreme ownership over our life and all the results that we create from it. Okay, all right. Now, self-sabotage. Get your typing fingers ready. What is self-sabotage? I want to see your take on it. What do you think self-sabotage is? If you had to describe it, what is it? An alien came from outer space and said, what is this self-sabotage thing? What would it be to you? Quick, short little answers. I know you're typing and I'll give you some time. It can take 30 seconds or so, but what does it mean to you? I want you to really think about it. Negativity, yep, cool. Negativity's come through, good one. Telling myself not to even try because I will fail for sure, yep. Cool, it's the psychological state of disbelief in your own abilities. Cool, yeah, so underrating yourself or saying that I'm only capable of this. Cool. Constantly doing what I know to be wrong. Okay, cool, yeah. All good ones, guys. And then even when I've met some success for some reason, finding fault with that. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about that one in particular a little bit later. Excuse me if I'm coughing right into the microphone, guys. I've I'll never eat nuts again before a webinar. Apologies. Not allowing myself to accept achievements. Yep. So deflection. And not truly believing what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, cool. So again, not believing in your own abilities, okay? And we're going to talk about why these things come up, okay? So why would we self-sabotage? It seems like a pretty silly thing to do. Let's be honest, but we all do it, right? So why do we do it? Before I tell you why I think we do it, I want to know why you think we do it. What is a good reason for self-sabotaging? Why on earth? These Martians, they want us to explain it, and they can't believe that we do these things to ourselves. Why do we eat chocolate when we're trying to lose weight? Oh, right. It is better. Yeah, okay, this is an interesting one. So someone said, it is better not to try than try and fail. Okay, so the fear of failure. Yep, cool. Martin says change is painful. Absolutely, change can be very painful. Okay, and remember, as humans, we are wired to take the path of least resistance. Okay, so basically, yes, change is painful, and if staying the same is easy, there comes a point in time where eventually staying the same is going to be more painful than changing. Okay, say for example, you've got some savings and you lose your job, right? Yes, it's painful to go out there and try and find a new job. It's less painful to sit at home and eat away at your savings, but when your savings dries up, it's less painful to go and find a job than it is to sit at home and not eat. Okay, so yes, change is painful. So we want to be able to speed up and do positive change. To avoid being disappointed if it doesn't eventuate. Yep. So kind of giving yourself a reason to fail or not to try. Programmed response, yeah, absolutely. Why would it be a programmed response? Gives us an easy out, Joanne says. Yes, absolutely. So, for example, instead of, I think what you mean, Joanne, instead of going all out to try and achieve something and then failing, it's kind of like, oh, I won't even try, and here's my list of reasons why I can't do it. Okay, so hopefully I'm on the right track there with what you meant. Okay, so inbuilt into each of us is a thing we might call our comfort zone. Okay, where we are comfortable living. So we've all heard the stories of the average person or the person with not much money winning the lottery. Okay, all of a sudden they've got $1 million in their bank account. They are way out of their comfort zone. Okay, and we'll talk about why this happens a little bit later. And then we're going to talk about how to overcome it, of course, as well. So they're way out of their comfort zone. So what do? They go and blow all that money on silly things until they get back to where their thermostat or their comfort zone is. Okay, so another way to frame that is like your success thermostat. So if we have grown up and been conditioned to, think life is hard and we're a battler and, this is hard and that's hard and you've got to work hard every day, etc., etc. That's where your thermostat is, and that's your belief system. Okay. Now, if we challenge that too much, or if we go out and someone tries to challenge that belief, or we try and challenge that belief, often our inbuilt thermostat brings us crashing back to earth, and we go and do something silly. Okay, or we do something that's not fantastic, and it brings us back to where essentially we are comfortable living. Okay, and that's why you see in a lot of different families these different belief systems, but middle class families generally produce middle class kids. Okay, and then that cycle repeats, and vice versa with lower socioeconomic and higher socioeconomic. Okay, of course there are exceptions to that rule, but I hope that kind of makes sense. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about this self-sabotage thing, and I'm going to talk about what we call an upper limit problem. Okay, or this is a problem with accepting positivity into your life and increasing our thermostat. So imagine you're walking around every day with a glass ceiling above our head. That's an upper limit problem. Okay, basically we can't rise any higher because we've got this glass ceiling above our head. All right, and that's a limiting belief or a limiting program. There's all these different words that we can use to describe it. Okay, so we're going to talk about an upper limit problem, and I want you to write this down, because if you're tuning into this webinar, you're going to be obviously interested in this stuff. And the best book I've ever read on it is a book called The Big Leap by a guy called Gay Hendricks. Okay, he's a psychologist, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about his book today and the 4 things that hold us back, the 4 reasons. We've already actually touched on some of them with some of your answers, which is fantastic. So, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, I want you to write that down. Now, hands up if you've actually read this book. Has anyone read it before? Hands up if you've read it. No. Okay, cool. So we're all kind of new to this one. All right, super. So basically, the upper limit problems are self-sabotage mechanisms. So if we want to increase our upper limit or our threshold for success, if you like, in any area, when I say success, I'm not talking about getting rich. It could be to do with your work. It could be your relationships. It could be your family. It could be your health for a lot of you guys as well. Okay. So in order to do that, we need to raise our upper limit or raise that glass ceiling above our head to give us room to grow. Okay, I hope I make sense. If you're confused, I want you to sing out, because I know this can be a little bit way out there for some people if you've never heard this stuff before. So here's a question for you. Have you ever been going really, really well, or something great's happened, and then you've had an accident? Okay, maybe you've caused a fight with a loved one or a friend or a family member, kind of out of nowhere. Like, you've had a fight about whose turn it is to do the dishes just after you've had your best day ever at your work or something like that. Okay, or have you ever gotten sick straight after something great's happened, or just about when you're about to do something great? Say you've got this big opportunity, this interview for a great new job that you've been dreaming of, and then the morning of the interview you wake up with the flu. Okay, has that ever happened to anyone? One of those kind of examples or something like it. Chuck your hand up if it has. We've got a few hands coming up already. Yeah, well, hey, look at all the hands now. Look at them all go. All right, so a lot of people can relate to that one. All right, fantastic. So that's an upper limit problem often. Of course, sometimes you might get sick, or sometimes you might slip over and hurt yourself or whatever. But it's very, very wise and a great idea to at least consider the possibility that you are self-sabotaging, and subconsciously you've gone out of your way to do something to bring you crashing back to your comfort zone. Okay, because you were challenged, your identity was challenged. Okay, so there are 4 hidden barriers to your success. We're going to go through these. I want you to pay particular attention. If one of them really stands out to you and you can really resonate and relate to that, I want you to write it down and get specific with where that comes from, okay? Because we've learned our behaviors from somewhere, okay? We weren't born with limiting beliefs. We've picked them up generally in our environment, okay? From the people we grew up with, often our family has had the biggest impact in that, okay? So 4 hidden barriers. Hidden barrier number 1, feeling fundamentally flawed. Okay, like there's something wrong with you. You're not good enough. Okay, so you're not worthy of success, or I can't do that, or I'm always going to be overweight, or I'm always going to be poor. I'm a battler, etc., etc. Someone mentioned this earlier. If I use my gifts and I play full out, I might fail, and that's going to make me feel even worse. So what I'm going to do is just play it safe and play small. Okay, that way I either won't fail, or if I do, it'll only be a minor little stuff up, and I'll be okay. So I'm going to stay in my safety zone. Okay, stay in my comfort zone. So that's hidden barrier number 1, feeling fundamentally flawed. Okay, I'm going to skim through all these 4 to start with. Hidden barrier number 4, disloyalty or abandonment. Okay, this is really, really interesting. So say your family you've grown up in a household that thinks rich people are greedy, or drug dealers, or broken the law and hurt lots of people, or they've ripped people off to get rich, etc. That's the only way you can get rich, blah, 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 blah. Or those people have too much money, they're so stuck up, yada, yada, yada. And then you have this desire one day to go out there and be successful financially. There's this hidden barrier there, most likely holding you back to some degree, to say that, well, if rich people are greedy and horrible people, etc., etc., and I become one of those rich people, my family's not going to love me anymore. Okay, and while we might not, and some of us will think of it logically like that, but some of us won't think logically. This is all subconscious stuff buried deep within our brain. Okay, So maybe you can relate to that. You wanted something different from those around you, or maybe it was your friend circle, all right? We know that a lot of friend circles are based around habits. People are mates with all the people at the pub. If I stop drinking, I want to change my life in some degree. Then there's that hidden barrier. I might lose the friendship of all my best mates that I see at the pub. If I go there and don't drink, they're gonna hang crap on me and make me feel bad, and aren't going to want to hang out with me anymore. I'm going to be no fun, okay, etc., etc. That one's come up a lot of times with clients of mine over the years. By the way, I forgot to do my little intro at the start, but hopefully you guys know, you've all seen an email or something. But anyway, I should have introduced myself. My name's Jake. So I'm the owner of Positive Existence Personal Training, and we started 7.5 years ago now, and it was just me as a PT. Now we have 25 locations around Australia. We help thousands of people every week, and we have a team of 60-something, 63 or something like that, PTs, salespeople, admin team, and it's really, really cool. So long story short, that is me. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from, basically, of working with thousands of different people and always learning different stuff. I'm no psychologist, but I've learned a lot about people and teams and helped a lot of people change their life. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Now you know who this guy talking to you is, but no one's logged off yet anyway, so hopefully we're going all right. So hidden barrier number 3, the thought that being, and by the way, I talk really fast sometimes. That's because A, I'm excited, B, we've got lots to get through. So if you can't keep up, try listening a little bit faster. But if you miss something, just sing out. If you miss a whole chunk, you'll get the recording of this anyway. We'll chuck it up on our Facebook tomorrow. So the thought that being a bigger success makes you a bigger burden. So if you've got this subconscious belief that you are a burden, okay, on the people around you. So say maybe your parents always struggled to look after the family, etc., and you always heard things like, oh geez, it's hard to feed so many kids, yada yada yada. Those people with no kids have got it so easy. And all these little things that, your parents aren't trying to make you feel bad about it or anything like that. But it sinks in and you start seeing yourself as a burden, right? So if you have a belief, whether it be conscious or subconscious, that you are a burden on the people around you, then there's a good chance that hidden barrier number 3 kicks in, and that by you trying to become more successful, you actually increase the burden on those people around you, and therefore you're going to come back crashing to reality, back to your little bubble and comfort zone. Okay, so that is a really interesting one. Probably the least common of the 4. Crime of outshining. I know this one was a big one for me when I first learned of this. If you've got siblings, it's probably very likely. So gifted children often develop this one. So say you're a gifted child and mum says something like, oh Johnny, just don't brag about how good you are at that because it makes your brother feel bad, etc., etc. Or when you're around your brother, don't talk about sports because he feels self-conscious about how good you are at those. Okay, so therefore you develop this subconscious belief around outshining others, and you don't want to make other people feel bad, so therefore you dull your own genius and you dull your ability to excel. Okay, or you basically tone it down a notch. So out of those 4, I want you to type through which one, if any, relates or resonates most with you. Most of you will have one, and if you've got a specific example, that's even better. So often the best way to help us overcome one of these hidden barriers is simply by shining a light on it, shining a light of awareness, okay? Because most of this stuff is subconscious until we bring it up and start talking about it. So yeah, you know what? I remember that time when I was a kid and me and my brother had that spelling competition, and he was my older brother, so he was supposed to win, and I beat him, and then I carried on like a pork chop, and then he went off to his room crying, and mum told me, not to talk like that or not to do that or blah, 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 or next time I shouldn't, make him feel bad for winning, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. So if you can get specific, even better. You don't necessarily have to share that with me right now, but pop it down, write it down, and shine a light on it and get more specific as you think about it more and more. So I guess a little cover note. We're not going to uncover all of your, every single thing that's ever held you back here tonight, but we are going to get the ball rolling, get your brain working, and you'll think of things as you're driving around tomorrow and over the weekend, etc. You'll be like, hey, yeah, you know what? That makes sense now. All right. But right now we've got Miku's 1 and 2. Okay. Yep. Hidden barriers are 1 and 2. Who else has got one? Sing out one of the ones that makes sense to you or you can relate to. What have we got? Okay, definitely feeling fundamentally flawed. Okay, I saw a sign in Sunday school when I was in grade 2 that said, God doesn't make junk, but I've always disagreed and never felt like, yep, okay, cool. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, okay, cool. Yeah, so great. So it's great to be aware of these things now, because what we can do once we become aware of them, we can shine the light on them. And we're going to walk through some techniques a little bit later tonight, or actually in a second, okay, where we're able to actually change those beliefs, okay, because they've been ingrained generally since we were little kids. Most of you guys are going to come up with examples from your childhood, okay? So if you felt like, another one is, if you were told, whether it be jokingly or seriously, that, we didn't plan on having you as a kid, and you feel like a mistake, and it's likely that you're going to grow up feeling fundamentally flawed or unloved or like a burden on those people around you. Okay, we've got 1 and 4 coming through as well. Definitely number 1. Okay, cool. The crime of outshining. Began individual sports, and often I would say, I did this, and then I did that, and then I scored a goal, etc. So my parents thought it was good for me to do team-based sports, more we, less I. Yeah, cool. So, hey, you're not allowed to, talk about how good you are, go and do a team sport. Cool. It's a very Australian thing as well. And, I think Australians probably out of most cultures probably have the hardest time with self-limiting beliefs, because we have this very, I don't know what the word is, it's escaping me, but, we always talk ourselves down, and it's shunned upon to talk about our successes, etc. Okay, so it probably amplifies our ability to self-sabotage, if that makes sense, because it helps us fit in with our culture. Okay, as a child, I was constantly told to try harder and that I could do better. So, maybe feeling fundamentally flawed because, hey, I'm never good enough. Number 1, 1 and 3. Tall poppy syndrome. Yeah, a couple of people say tall poppy syndrome. Absolutely. So we've got to knock ourselves down a peg so that we don't get knocked down by other people, right? And agree, disagree, whatever. Number 1, cool. Feeling a fool in class when I asked a question I didn't know the answer to. Got put in the spotlight. Never felt good enough. Okay, fantastic. Guys, thanks for sharing. Really appreciate that. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to figure out how do we overcome these things, okay? Some little symptoms of upper limiting, and I want you just to take note of what you do most out of any of these symptoms. I think we've got 6 or 7 different symptoms coming up, okay? So whichever one you rank highest, and this is going to be something we're going to work on changing. First one's worrying. Hands up if you're good about worrying about stuff that you have no control over. So a few hands, cool. I think a few people are good at that. So the thing about worrying is we need to ask ourselves the question, can I do something about this, what I'm worrying about? Okay, if so, then do it, and then you can stop worrying. If not, stop worrying, okay? So if you left the iron on, that's important to worry about. You can A, do something about it, and B, if you don't, the house might burn down, okay? But if you're worried about what Uncle John might say when he sees your new haircut next week, can't worry about that. You can't do anything about that, okay? Or you got your haircut and you're worrying about what your friends are going to think tomorrow when you see them at dinner, right? Whatever it is, not useful. So if you catch yourself doing that, just make a little note. Blame and criticism. So something good's going on, or here's a good one in Australian culture. Someone does something really well and you say, oh yeah, but blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, but how many people has he pushed over to get to that point in their life or whatever it is, right? So blame and criticism, the media is really good at that as well, so it's probably helped us get good at that. Deflection, Aussies are great at this. Say you're playing golf, you hit a great shot, someone says, hey, great shot, and I say, oh, no, I actually didn't hit it very well, it was lucky, you know. It was lucky it came out that way, or it got a lucky bounce, etc., etc. So deflection is that one. Okay. A couple more symptoms. Arguments. Are you good at creating arguments? So if you had a great day and then you get home and there's a bit of dirt on the dishes, so you have a go at your partner because they didn't wash the dishes perfectly, or the TV's too loud. What are you doing? So you haven't got them because the TV is slightly too loud or whatever. Right, creating arguments out of nothing instead of just having a conversation. Sickness. Do you always get sick when something good is about to happen or has just happened? That was one for me. Looking back now, I didn't understand at the time. But as a kid, I was really good at sports and stuff, and really good in my little kind of club teams or whatever, for whatever sports I played. Then I'd go away for rep carnivals and I'd always get injured just before it, or I'd always get sick during the carnival. And that helped me stay in my comfort zone instead of stretching and making the next team and having to compete against all the best kids from all over the place. Okay, so looking back, that was a definite upper limit problem for me, and now that I'm aware of it, I can change it. Okay, I can improve the situation. Okay, cool. So overcoming your upper limit problem. I'm guessing this is why you're all here. Hands up if this is why you came. You didn't want to hear me just talk about why we're all messed up. You actually want to, yeah, we kind of know why we're messed up now. Now it's time to do something about it. Okay, so overcoming your upper limit problem. First of all, what is it that keeps showing up in your life that you would like to change? Okay, so maybe I always lose weight and then put it back on. Or I always get into relationships and then seem to mess them up. Or I always attract horrible partners. I always end up in jobs that I hate. What is it in your life that keeps showing up that you would like to change? Career, cool. And let's try and be as specific as possible here. I'm going to pop the next question up because it might tie in as well. So try and identify what is the belief or program that is driving that outcome. So let's say career, because Liam's popped that through as a thing. So let's say the thing that keeps showing up is I can never progress in my career to where I really want to get to. Okay, and what is the belief or program driving that outcome? I guess deep down, I don't believe that I'm good enough to get to the next level, or good enough to become a manager or a team leader, or I'm not good enough to go and apply for that job and nail the interview. What is the belief or program that's driving that outcome? Okay, so we need to try and identify that so we can do something about it. I'm going to give you a little bit of time here, guys, because this will take some thinking for some of us. So money troubles, yep. So is it that I always blow all my money? I always get money and then I figure out a way to throw it down the drain or to lose it? Okay, here's an interesting one. Want a high-paying job, but tax seems too high. Okay, cool. Okay, that's a good one. So now we're starting to get into some of those ingrained beliefs. Okay, good. So identifying is the first step. And I never talk myself out of it. Yeah, so that's it's definitely a limiting belief. Like, what's the point? So maybe the kind of program that's going through your brain could be something like, what's the point of doing all this extra hard work and all this extra responsibility if I'm going to lose most of that money by paying more tax anyway? Okay, what's the point of that? Cool. Lack of attendance at uni and lack of assignments being done on time. I can relate to that because when I was at uni, it was very much like that. I was really good at getting 51% on everything. But anyway, that's another story. That'll be another webinar, how to get 51% on all of your subjects consistently. All right. So lack of attendance, right? Where does that come from? So what is the belief? Like, is it a belief of it's not important? What's the point? There's no jobs when I finish for people who finish my degree anyway. So what's the point of doing all this work? There's no point. That would be a belief or a program, right? So try and get to the bottom of that. Okay, cool. Yep. So I don't believe I am good enough to graduate and start my career. That's it. So that's the belief. Yep. Cool. I don't believe, right? So it's a belief. I don't think I will be good enough to teach. Okay, cool. Good. Career progression. Cool. In most jobs, I've always been overlooked despite ability. Now I'm in a job that seems to recognize my ability and I feel as though I'm not good enough / can't do it / it's too hard. Okay, fantastic. Good work, guys. Great sharing. Okay, and if you haven't posted one through yet, I assume you're still typing. So keep going with that. It's important. And by typing it through, and showing it to somebody else, even though, you know, we're thousands of kilometers away or whatever we are, hundreds or whatever, it makes it real for you. So it's like you're taking ownership of it, okay? Because you're putting it out there into the universe, even though, you know, whatever. So it's really important that we do express it. Talk myself out of succeeding with job interviews. And then I would say, you know, why do you do that? Will be trying to find that belief. What is the belief to say why I do that? Losing weight, having a go at many things, leaving it to the last minute so I often run out of time, put off, procrastinate. Cool. So figure out what's the one thing that you want to work on now. Let's get specific with one thing, guys, and then you can do the same process for all the different limiting beliefs you've got. You know, you'll think of new things later on, but let's think of the one that springs to mind that's having the biggest impact on your life. Not being there for my children when they need me. Yeah, okay. And where, yep, so another one coming through. Yeah, it might be cheating them of something. So maybe it's like a guilt associated with trying to grow your career or improve your career because, hey, I'm not at home with the kids enough, etc., etc. I assume it's something along those lines. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky because you're obviously typing short sentences. Okay, cool. People I trust and many people I care about reject my business point blank. Very discouraging. Absolutely. I remember, Martin, I started my business quite young, so I was 21. I was 21. But it was about when I was 22, 23 that I started getting serious about it. And I was doing all this work, not getting any, not making any money. In fact, like losing money more often than not. And I can relate to you because my dad was trying to get me to just get a job, right? And I'm glad I didn't. So let's just say that, right? So hang in there, mate. But let's work on this tonight. So what is the belief or program that is driving that outcome? So are you saying that you need the support of other people? If people don't believe in me, then maybe it's a bad business. And you know what? Maybe it is, you need to speak to the right people, of course. But let's just assume that it's a great business. Okay, it's a great business plan for now, for the purposes of this. Okay, cool. Greg, you've typed it in the right place, mate. So Greg just type in, I can't see an area where I can type. This is the right place for you to type. Yep, that's the spot. Okay. Cool. All right, here we go. Another one. I often need to know how I'm going with feedback regularly, but if I'm doing a good job, might never hear any feedback, either good or bad, and I start to feel like encouraging feedback by testing the boundaries. So I'm assuming, you test the boundaries in a negative way, as in like, will they even notice if I stuff something up, etc., etc. So that could be a belief that you want to change, is that let's think of this one through. So I agree, you want to have feedback, you want to always be doing better, but how do we put that back into a positive way? So you believe that you got to test the boundaries to make sure that you're, valued maybe, so you're seeking approval, like I need other people's approval or recognition to make me feel good. That could be a belief driving that. Okay, so if you stuff something up, and then you improve it and say, yeah, that's better, great job, yada, yada, yada. But then if you're just doing a decent job all the time, you don't get any of that. That's just my take on it. Sometimes it is tricky, again, taking it from a sentence or two that you're typing without any voice or body language. Julie types through, I seem to take one step forward and two steps back in my business and feel stuck, like I'll never get anywhere. Cool. So you've got a belief or program running through that I do all this hard work and I don't make or I don't get anywhere with it. What's the point? Okay. Cool. To be okay with hearing nothing. Yeah. Yep. So in other words, value doing the job day after day. You know, are you in a job that is really fulfilling to you? Maybe it's possible that you're in the wrong career. So just mind my bluntness, guys, because it will smash you in the face sometimes. But I do that just to try and help. So value the job. Possibly that could be it. Possibly you actually got a really poor leader and you actually need to ask them what is expected of you and what do I need to do to an excellent job. Okay. What's average, what's excellent, because I want to be great. Okay. I don't want to just be an average guy here at this place working. I want to be the best. What do I have to do to get that? Okay. So maybe you've got to actually go and chase the feedback instead of waiting for the feedback. That could be the change in program. It could be as simple as that. Okay. But again, I'm just, giving you my thoughts. Okay. Cool. Not qualified. Never seem to have the skills required. Yep. E.g., not outgoing enough, etc. Not a people person, etc., etc. Okay, cool. So we can change that. So is there a belief there that no matter what I do, I'll never be good enough? Or is it a belief that I'm not a people person, I'm not outgoing enough to, be great at what I want to be great at? All right. So get really clear. What is the belief that pops into your head? Okay. Which is the reason that goes to giving you that outcome all the time. Now, here's a question. We're going to dig the knife in a little bit, right? What are the consequences of having that program or belief that make you want to change it? What are the consequences? So if we use the feedback example, the consequences are I never know if I'm doing a good job. It makes me feel insecure. I get anxious. Am I doing a good job, or am I going to be the first person to get fired if we're not doing great as a business, etc., etc. So what are the consequences? I feel guilty all the time because I'm not with my kids as much as I think I should be. Therefore, even when I am with the kids, I kind of feel bad because I wasn't with them earlier. Then I can't be as good a mum as I want to be, etc., etc. Okay. Yep. So Martin says, good call. Maybe it's my need for approval that makes it so tough. But then how do you discount the opinion of people you otherwise trust? Yep. Maybe you don't discount it, but you take it in context from their point of view, which is they care for you and they want you to stay safe. So they're projecting their limiting beliefs on you. Okay. So what most people say, if they say you can't do that, what they're actually saying is I can't do that. And therefore, if you do that, you're going to make me look bad, so you can't do it either. Okay. Now, of course, they're not trying to consciously hold you back. But what if they say, yeah, Martin, go for it. That's a great business. And then 6 months later, you're bankrupt. Then they're like, oh, shit, I told him to go for it. No. So, often they're covering their own butt. They're projecting their own limiting beliefs on you, which is why we need to be careful of the advice that we take, okay? So I have a rule. I only take advice from people who have excellent, runs on the board or whatever you want to call it in that area. So I don't take business advice from my dad because he was never in business, okay? He's always an employee. My mum was a teacher, so she's not going to give me business advice. But if I want to know how to spell something, I'll ask my mum because she taught English for 40 years. Okay. If I want business advice, I'll go to successful business people or my business coach to ask for their opinion. Okay. So anyway, that's a little bit of a side note, but I wanted to help Martin there. Moving on from rejection, it reflects on my ability to fully engage with. Yep. And so that's a state changing thing. Look up Tony Robbins, changing state. Okay. Tony Robbins, changing state. All right. So slightly off topic, but we keep going. That's how these things roll. Normally we get way off topic. Tonight we've been pretty good. So the consequences. Never had a problem jumping out of my comfort zone in the past, but now I'm older. more nervous and probably seek more support than I may have needed in the past. Yep, cool. Don't try hard enough. I give up easily, then feel guilty. Okay, cool. So, yep, it's like a vicious circle. To take more initiative, to open up lines of communication. Yes, Liam, read a book called Extreme Ownership. I recommend everyone read that book, but especially for you, Liam, that's exactly what they talk about. It's written by a couple of Navy SEALs, and it's a really cool book. Ronaldo says, the consequences that I'm going to lose my degree, get kicked out of uni, this will reinforce my belief that I'm a failure and I don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. Yep, don't belong here or deserve good things. Okay, cool. So you've got a pretty strong belief there, so we're going to get to work on that in a second. Cool. Okay, Martin, good stuff, mate. Awesome, no problems, Liam. Okay, so what are the consequences? We've kind of answered that. Hopefully you've answered some specific things on your page as well. I do encourage you to write as much down as possible because we're good at forgetting things, especially if you're anything like me. You're a master at forgetting. Okay, continued. Out of 10, how strong is that limiting program that you are running? Okay, how strong is it right now? So we're just kind of making it real, giving it a number. Out of 10, 10 being strongest ever, strongest belief ever. 1 being I could change it, right now. 11. All right, good one. We got challenge. And some of you, you know what? You're holding on to those programs for a reason. Okay, so let's be real. You're holding on to it because you get something out of it. Okay, it gives you security. It keeps you warm at night. It stops you from going out there and chasing your dreams in inverted commas. You're getting something out of it. You get sympathy from other people, etc., etc. So you don't have to change. It does not affect me, but I'm here to encourage you to at least have it as an option. Okay, we've got 8s, we've got 9s, we've got 8s, we've got 6. Fantastic. And some of you, just by talking about this, from the start of the webinar to now, you've probably come down a number or 2, okay? Because now that we're actually shining a little bit of light on it, some of you are like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that actually makes more sense now, and I can see, why that's a little bit silly or why I should change it, etc. Okay, what's stopping you from changing it? So I probably went through a few reasons there before. What's stopping some of us from changing that belief? We get something out of it. Is the honest truth. If we actually think about it. So, what is it? Try and think about what is it that I actually get out of having this belief up until now? What have I been getting that, is it sympathy from others? It's the attention that I crave and I otherwise don't get any attention except for people feeling sorry for me, etc., etc. Is it part of my identity? Some people, if you've got a mental illness or something, you can become that person with depression. I'm Jake and I have depression, or I have this mental illness or this illness, etc., etc. And you can actually start to identify with it. It's part of who you are, okay? And it gives you some meaning. All right, so what is it for you? An excuse, yeah. An excuse for what? Why? What's the excuse giving you? So it's giving you like an out. It's giving you safety maybe. So without that excuse, I would have no reason not to go and chase my new career or, put myself out there and go to the gym and try and lose the weight, etc., etc. And that makes me uncomfortable and I might fail. Yep. Excuse not to try harder. Yep. Okay, cool. Fear of failure. Yep, I might fail. Okay. You know what? If you've got a limiting belief, such as some of the ones we've been talking about, and you don't do anything about it, are you going to succeed? I need to acquire more knowledge coming through. Cool. So if you've got a fear of failure, think about, right, what if I don't do anything differently? What are my chances of success then? And I would say there's 0. You're guaranteed to fail and be miserable if you continue down the path that's made you miserable and unsuccessful to this point. Okay, so if you want something different from this point forward, you're going to have to accept that you've been doing something wrong. Okay, you've got to be open to being wrong. and thinking of a new way of doing things. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Interrupting people from their day to ask questions. Cool. I'm going to bet that if your manager or owner or someone, if you interrupt them from their day to ask them questions about how you can do a better job and increase your performance, they're going to be happy to answer that question for you. Guaranteed. Fear is stopping me from changing. And what are you afraid of? Get clear on that. What are you afraid of? Okay, next up, what program belief would you like to replace it with? Okay, what would you like to replace that old limiting belief with? Okay, so let's say, let's think of a good one here. This is important. So, all right, we've got fear of failure in terms of, I might fail my degree and then I'm going to be more of a failure, etc., etc. And going after it, if I go after it and really have a crack at it and a fail, it's going to hurt. Okay, what if we change that program or belief, and we've got it in a negative context right now, so we want to flip it around to a positive point of view or positive viewpoint, and we say something like, let's think, maybe you guys can come up with something, type something through. My brain's just stopped working all of a sudden, but it'll kick back into gear any minute now. Okay, we've got a few coming through here. I've been afraid of losing my close relationships with my sister. She doesn't approve of what I do for business. Okay, cool. Yep. Okay, so how could you replace that belief with, what, my sister's actually got, or the people around me have some limiting beliefs, and by me chasing my goals and my dreams and creating my future, I'm going to light the way for them to follow. Okay, so I am actually doing them a massive favor by challenging them, by doing what I am passionate about or going after my goals. Okay, so we've got the failure of not being good enough. Again, we kind of reframe that to say, well, if I don't do anything different, I'm guaranteed to fail. If I do something different and I have 100% crack at it, at least I've got a great chance of success. Okay, I've got an infinitely better chance of success than doing it the old way. Yeah, I am good enough. So you go from I am not good enough, okay, which is an identity. It's like I am. Anything you say after I am is you identifying yourself. So I am not good enough. Simply, I am good enough. I am worthy. Okay, so I am worthy of great things happening in my life could be the new belief. Or I am worthy of love and attention. It could be as simple as that, or it could be more elaborate if you are that way inclined. Cool. Awesome. Okay, Liam, I'm not sure what you mean. This is one of those hard ones to communicate in a sentence, but feel free to try and elaborate on that. I'd like to not feel afraid of failure. Cool. So here's what we don't want to say. We don't want to say I am not afraid of failure. Okay, because if you say don't think of a pink elephant, what do you think of? You think of a pink elephant. So we always want to say what we want, not what we don't want. Okay. So our belief needs to be framed in a positive manner. So if we change, I'd like to not feel afraid of achievement. You could say, and for those of you with kids, you could say something like, I am setting a great example for my kids, or I am setting a great example for my kids by chasing my dreams and showing them that anything is possible. Okay, that could be a new belief. So instead of going out there and chasing your business and growing your business, or building a career or whatever, instead of feeling guilty that you're not spending the time with your kids, I'm actually setting a great example for my kids, and the time I have with them is 100% quality. Okay, and by building that business, we're able to then go on cool holidays and create amazing memories, etc., etc. Okay, cool. Okay, no problemo. Yeah, cool. Okay, so if we've got the belief of I'm not skilled enough. I don't have the skills. Is kind of easy because we can figure out what we do need and go to work on it. And we live in the information age, so everything you need to know is there. You just need to go and chase it, like this webinar, right? Or that book, or all those books that we've talked about. So what program belief would you like to replace it with? Okay, so get clear on that. Yeah, cool. Okay, the idea that I'm genuinely helping people around me. Great. So, yes. So in terms, we're talking about business, right? So the new belief might be, instead of I need approval to start my business, it could be my business helps people, and by keeping it small or not going after 100%, I'm actually ripping the world off. Okay, there's all these people out there that need my help, and the only way I'm going to help them is by growing my business. That could be a new belief. I need to grow my business to help more people because there's people out there that need my help. Okay, that could be the new one. All right. Now, yeah, we've got another one come through. I'm good enough. I can do this. Yes, absolutely. I am good enough. And try and get a little bit specific on that as well. Like, why are you good enough? Why? I can do this. Yes, absolutely you can. Okay. What can you do to change this program? So there's a loaded question. I'm going to give you some examples of some things that you can do. Okay, but have you got any ideas? What can you do to change this program? What can you do? What can you do? Have a think. Have a bit of a think. Here we go. Oh, good one, Liam. Mix with the right people who can actually help. This webinar is a good example for that. You're opening up to someone that you wouldn't normally talk to in everyday life. Okay, so I'm outside of your circle of family and friends, giving you a different perspective from a different viewpoint based on different experiences. So that is potentially going to help you get somewhere different. Okay, morning affirmations. Yeah, good one, Mick. I'll talk you through those in a second, guys. Consciously reinforce the new program every time the old program pops up. Good one, Katie. So we call that a circuit breaker. So we talk about programs because your brain kind of works like a computer. So, you've been programmed from a young age to think certain things, right? You think the sky is blue. You think we have to go to school to be smart and to get a job, etc., etc. Whereas other people grow up in a different system that says, you know what, you don't need school. You need to learn how to do a trade, okay? And that's how you get by in life, etc., etc. So we've got these programs, so we actually have to change them. So they're not going to just change automatically. You're going to have to work at them, okay? So every time the old program pops up, like you get that feeling in your stomach because you've now got a bit of money in your bank account, whereas in the past you would have gone out and, hey, you know what? We really need an extension on the house, or I need a new car, or this, that, or the other. Or old mate Johnny has a great investment idea that his uncle Bob is starting this new company that's going to build a new app, and it's going to be the best thing ever. So I'm going to put everything I've ever saved into that, okay, to come back to my success thermostat, or where I'm comfortable being wealth-wise. So when that feeling pops up, then we say, hey, I've felt this feeling before. It's just about being conscious, and after tonight you'll be much more conscious of these things. You say, you know what, I think I'm upper limiting myself, where in the past I would have self-sabotaged. Right now I'm going to do something different, okay? And my new program is XYZ, and I'm going to go and talk to someone that actually knows something about money and get their opinion on this thing before I go and give Uncle Bob the money. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. Good one, Katie. So reinforce the new program, break the circuit when the old program tries to kick in, do something different, just stop. Do something different, okay? Whereas you would have gone and done XYZ or pulled the credit card out and made a compulsive buy. This time you're going to do something different. Maybe you walk around the block, or you go to the gym, or you call someone, to talk about what feelings have just popped up, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples here. So specific things that you need to go away and do, and we're going to come up with a little list of them. So to change a program, there's two ways to change a program, but it's normally a combination of the two ways. Way number one is through emotion. So hands up if you've ever had a hugely emotional event that's changed you as a person, and maybe you've done things differently in a certain area of your life ever since. Okay? Hands up. Yep. Cool. So I used to be a bit of a lead foot, right? I'd always, not that I was a dangerous driver or anything in my Toyota Camry in my 19 and 20, around that age bracket. But I'd always get a speeding fine because I just wasn't thinking about how fast I was driving, and I'd get a ticket in the mail, and whatever, wasn't too good. When I was 21, my best mate passed away in a car accident, and instantly, ever since then, I've been really conscious about everything that I do in a car now. So I'll be really conscious of the speed limit. I'll stop at every stop sign, no matter how ridiculous it is. So, even though I know there's no one around or whatever. Whereas in the past, I would have just gone through that no problem at all. So that's an emotional event that's had an immediate and massive impact on a behavior or a program that I had in my head. Driving's not important. It's just cruising along, getting to where you're going. Whereas now I see it's a hugely important thing that we look after ourselves out there and look after everyone else on the roads, etc., etc. Okay, and we even started a charity around that, helping kids do defensive driving courses. So it's really cool as well. And the other thing is repetition. So you do something enough times that you build a new program, you build a new pattern. Okay, so think of walking, how we learned to walk. Okay, we did it. We just tried and tried and tried, and then we're eventually able to walk. Okay, we didn't just give up after our first go, did we? And it's the same here with trying to create a new program in our brain. Okay, so some ways of doing that. Visualization. So let's use the uni example or weight loss example, because a lot of you guys are, trying to improve your body or whatever it is for you, but it applies to everything. So we visualize ourselves looking down at the scales and seeing that number. We're feeling the feel, our goal number. We're feeling the feelings that brings to us, the pride that we feel, the smiles on everyone's faces. We're seeing our sister Joan, who now is inspired to go on her weight loss journey, etc., etc. So that's a visualization. We do that enough times, and remember, we're combining emotion and repetition there. We do that enough times, and we start to form a new program. Our subconscious brain starts to believe that this is actually happening, okay? And it will go and it will do things, and you'll change your environment and the way you think about certain things, the way you approach certain things, so that you can achieve what it believes to be real, okay? So that might sound a bit far out, but just do it, okay? I was skeptical at first as well. I am. So this is what Mick was talking about with morning affirmation. So remember, we're trying to change your identity. So if the person who wins the lottery, he identifies, or she, as a poor person or an average person or middle class or whatever. Therefore, the money goes. But if a rich person won the lottery, they would, I am wealthy, I am a rich investor, and then I happen to win $1 million, I'm going to find some great investments to put that into. I'm not just going to blow it, okay? So I am. So you want to come up with the words that define who you want to be, okay? So I am a great example to my kids. If you're trying to get over the guilt of doing stuff in your own life, when you're one half of you wants to, thinks you should always be with the kids or whatever. I'm a great example to my kids, showing them that anything is possible would be a fantastic affirmation. If you've got the money issues, I'm the master of my money, and the better I manage it, the more that comes to me. Okay? If you're trying to improve your health, I am fit, strong, and healthy. I am fit, strong, and healthy. Now, when you're saying these I ams, the more involved you can make your body, the better. When I say I ams, I like beat my chest a little bit, and just get your whole body involved, and they will be much more effective. If you say I am energetic, not going to work. Okay, if you say it with enthusiasm and passion, and you get your whole body moving and excited, it's going to start to sink in. Okay, so we're talking to our subconscious brain. So we need to use emotion, use pictures, etc. So that's why the visualization using specific words in your I ams is really important. The DeMartini method is another form of repetition where you're literally going to sit down and write out all the reasons why this new program is the best, okay? So why are you a great example to your kids, showing them anything is possible? Because I work hard, and I show them the results of hard work. I show them that, no matter what's going on in your life, you can always, achieve a goal or chase your dream or blah, blah, and you literally come up with as many reasons as you can, at least 20. DeMartini always talks about 100 reasons, okay? Or 100 reasons why you've got to be better with your money. So we're creating emotion along with the repetition because I want to leave something for my kids. I want to be able to donate X amount of dollars to my favorite charity, yada, yada, yada. You come up with 100 reasons and guaranteed that new program, that new belief will start to be a lot stronger. You're giving it legs, okay? You're giving it strength. It's like going to the gym and pumping some reps, and over the weeks and months and years, you get stronger and stronger. Okay, modeling. What does that mean? That means not walking down the runway. That means finding people who have what you want, going and modeling them. So hanging out with them. Someone already spoke about this. It was really cool. You literally go and ask questions of people who have what you want. So if you want to get fitter and healthier, find fit and healthy people, go and hang out with them, come to boot camp, talk to the trainers, associate with those people, etc., etc. If you want to become more wealthy or change some beliefs around wealth, go out and hang out with wealthy people. Read books about money and wealth, etc., and that will start to change your thought processes and beliefs around that particular topic. Okay, go to workshops or seminars on that topic and hear different people that actually know what they're talking about, as opposed to, like we were talking about earlier, Martin, someone that may or may not know anything about this thing, projecting their thoughts onto it. Okay, so that's really, really important. And why is it so important that you do them or that you actually change? This is incredibly important. I want you to type an answer through here. Why is it so important that you change this belief that you've got? Why is it so important that you can change this belief that you've got? Up until now, I should say. That you've got this belief up until now, because we're changing it from here. Do your kids, is it going to help your kids? Is it going to help your family? And remember, think bigger than yourself, by going all out, 100% commitment to this business. I'm going to be able to help people all around the world. By finishing my degree, I'm going to be able to then become a teacher, which has been my dream, to help kids learn and grow and develop into great adults, etc., etc. Why is it so important? Yep, cool. Because the only way for there to be a change is to make a change. Cool. If I lose weight and believe in myself, then once I change it, can live a healthy, more active life, be more adventurous in life. Yep. And think about other people. Who are you going to inspire? You're going to inspire your kids, family, future family, other family members around you that need to lose weight as well. Because I deserve better, absolutely. Because I'm a great teacher and the students of tomorrow deserve to have me in their world. That's awesome. Great. Love it. Cool. Yep. Small actions each day become habit. Be better, be more inspiring. Absolutely. So, your life is an accumulation of all of your habits. Okay. So if we create great habits, we're able to get great results, and we do that consistently. We have a great life to look back on one day. That's helped heaps of people. Cool. It's important to change my belief because it will help everyone I come into contact with: clients, friends, acquaintances, family, and myself. Great. Cool. Yep, awesome. Lots of people out there who can improve their life by learning what I can teach them. Absolutely. So we've got to start playing a bigger game to help these people that are out there that need it. Okay, fantastic. Now, that's about it for what I wanted to cover tonight, guys. Now, some of you are going to be sitting there thinking, well, I've kind of just scratched the surface and I need to know more, I need to learn more, etc., etc. So what I'm going to tell you about really quickly now is about a week-long trip that we're doing to Bali in just a few weeks, about 4 weeks away from now. And it's really exciting. We do lots of cool stuff. I'm going to show you some sick pictures of our Bali retreat. This is exactly where we'll be going. So every day we're training physically and mentally and emotionally. Okay, we've got yoga sessions. We've got daily massages, plenty of time just to chill out and relax, because getting outside of our own bubble is really important so we can think clearly. Every day we do a workshop where we're digging even deeper than we did tonight, because we'll have a whole lot more time. okay, into what's holding us back in life, evaluating what we've done well, what we haven't done so well in the past, what we need to do better, what we're going to be doing differently, planning for our future, etc., etc. Okay, it's going to be super cool, as well as learning more about nutrition. We've got a chef that cooks all the food for us. We're staying in private villas, so it's not like we're staying at a big giant hotel or anything like that. So it's going to be super awesome. Long story short, we've got our own gym there as well, so we'll be pumping out workouts every day, right on the beach. So lots of time to relax, daily massages, daily yoga. What else? Daily workshops. Heaps of time just to chill out and take it easy as well, and have a week off. Long story short, okay. So details wise, many of you have probably got an email from me, so all the details are in there. And silly me, I've forgotten to have the link there to send you, but I'll send you all a link out anyway when I send the video of the recording. But if you're really interested in coming along, all I would say for you to do right now is the best thing is to pop your phone number in. I'll give you a call tomorrow morning. We can have a bit of a chat about it and figure out what you actually want to achieve out of it, what you want to get out of it moving forward. So cost-wise, we're looking at $2,000, so $1,997. That includes everything except your flights, okay, and your first night in Kuta, all right? So we're staying, it's from the 1st to the 7th of October in our private villas, which is Saturday we arrive in there, and then we stay until the Friday, okay? So it'll be 6 nights in our private villas. Everything looked after you, food, training, workshops, massages, yoga, everything all inclusive in that. So it's going to be super, super cool. So if you are interested in coming along to that, simply pop your number in. I'll give you a call. We'll be going heaps more into depth into all this stuff, plus loads more, which I'm really, really excited about. So apart from that, team, that is our night done. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing and being so open. I really do appreciate that, and it's been my pleasure to hopefully help you. Now, before you leave, I would really love some feedback on your number one thing that you got out of our session tonight. It will also help you lock in your learning. So, we know that learning's great, but if you don't go and do anything with it, it's a waste of your last hour and 10 minutes. So go and do something with it. Please let me know the number one thing that you've learnt from our time tonight. That'd be great, just so that I can know kind of what's resonating with people for next time we do one of these webinars. Cool. All right, sorry about the spell check, Julie. Maybe that's a belief we need to work on with you, that the spelling's super important. It's not one that I hold, even though my mum's an English teacher. All right, cool. Liam, all right, only take feedback from experts in the field, not just anybody because they hold a position of authority. Absolutely. So, just think, okay, they've got an opinion, but it's not factual. Okay, it's just an opinion. They're allowed to have an opinion. I don't have to get emotional about it. That's fine. They're coming from their point of view, and they're probably trying to do their best for me. They're probably trying to help me. So it's all good. We'll move forward. But do I have to take it on board? No. All right, that's a good one. Cool. Okay. You have made me realize that it is not okay to stay stuck where I am for fear of failure. Awesome. And failure will only come by not changing and not trying. Absolutely. So if you have a go, you have a crack at a new way of doing things and it doesn't quite work out, you've learned something new, okay? And you can try something different from then, okay? But you're going to learn something new about yourself along the way that's going to help you move forward even further. So that's brilliant. Great job. Cool. Any more one things coming through? That'll be amazing. Otherwise, guys, feel free to rock and roll. If you've got other things you've got to get to, that is cool. Learning to unpack my issues on a deeper level, great. And if I change the way I think about it, I will get what I want and deserve. Absolutely. So there's no lack of people working really, really hard in the world, is there? We're all working hard in our own way, but there is a huge disparity in results. Okay, so we have to think, right, is it hard work that gives us results, or is it something else? Okay, and I have to believe that it's something else. Along with hard work, you need certain beliefs. You need a belief structure that supports your vision, okay, or the things that you want to achieve. So if there's something holding us back, we need to get to work on it, overcome it, so that we can push forward. Cool. Yep. Need to take the first step and the next step and the next step. Cool. So you don't have to see the whole staircase, just the first step. Just keep moving forward, and eventually, you're a lot further down the track. Cool. Good one. All right. Good one, Joanne. Thank you. Okay, Martin. Thank you. Cool. Biggest thing was to understand people reject something for their own limitations. Absolutely. They're going to project what they think onto you. This specifically was sign up for this. Cool. Where will I find a link to the recording? Good question, Martin. I will, my friend, since you asked so nicely, send out the recording. It'll take a while to upload, so it'll probably be tomorrow. I'll send it out to everyone who registered for the webinar. I'll post it on our PEPT Facebook. So if you don't already follow our PEPT Facebook, make sure you do. I will pop the link into the answers here. So it's facebook.com/positive existence PT. Okay. Most of you probably already follow that. I assume that's maybe one of the reasons a lot of you came from. Tim says, thank you, no problems. Julie says, number one thing, come up with a replacement for the beliefs I want to change and a plan to change them. Great. So remember, a belief's kind of like, anyone that's given up smoking, they replace it with eating or drinking or something like that, right? So you can't just kind of leave a big gap in your life when you're in your belief system. You're going to have to replace it with something, or your likelihood of going back to the old program, the old belief, is very, very high. Cool. Yes, do it until you believe it. Repetition makes change. Fantastic. And Tracy's first webinar, she loved it. Good stuff. Cool. So, that's great. Repetition makes change. And then once you've become that new person that identifies in a new way with a new belief structure, then you're going to have new limitations, okay? And they're going to stop you from getting even further. So then you get to work on them. Then you're doing more repetition. You've got new IMs, new visualizations, new models. When I say models, people around you. Okay, cool. All right, Katie says, thank you very much for the presentation. Found it awesome. Assisted me to hone in on what is actually holding back. Awesome. Helped me realize that it is just a program belief that can be changed. Yes, so often we take these things a little bit personally, don't we? And we think, we're a bad person because we've done this or we feel this way, etc. Just remember, it's just a program in our brain. It's in our computer, okay? And it's just a little bit of a glitch in the program that someone didn't program us so well when we were little kids, all right? But it's up to us to go in there and fix it, because pointing the finger and blaming other people is just not going to help us. Fantastic. Thank you for the feedback. Okay. Yes, Ronaldo says, thank you so much. Keep me posted with future webinars and trips away. Cool. Done a great job. Awesome. Thank you very much for the feedback. And in terms of staying posted, you always want to check the emails that I send you, and Facebook. Follow that Facebook page, and follow me on Facebook. I'll type that through. If you don't already, guys, I always try and do my best to post up some cool stuff, normally like great quotes and articles that I find and read. So follow me. I've just sent you through the link to my page. You can see what I get up to all the time. Fantastic, guys. That's it for me. Looks like everyone's done. Thank you so much for being legends, and I really appreciate your time and commitment to sharing. It's been great, and I look forward to the next webinar where I get to hopefully help some more. So until then, we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.